Hello and welcome to this latest episode of the Fully Booked Coach podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Poulter, and in today's episode, we will be talking about the 3 reasons why you keep losing clients. Nobody likes losing clients, and don't worry, we're going to fix that today. As you might be able to see on my screen, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget that in the month of November, I'm giving away £100 cash for anyone who takes a screenshot of the podcast and sticks it on your story. Rephrase that. It's not for anyone. I'll be picking someone at random out of the people that do it. Okay. I can't be giving out £100 to every single person that does it, but I'm happy to give it away to somebody at random who does it and tags me. So tag me on Instagram at Fully Booked Coach. All right. Question. Does this sound familiar? You keep losing clients, even though they are smashing their goals and saying they love your program. Or you have clients who come into the program, don't engage, drop off, and you never hear from them ever again. I've experienced this before. I know other coaches have when I speak to them. So we're going to dive in and I'm going to tell you what's going on here. I'm going to kick you off with number one. Okay. You aren't talking about future goals. One of the biggest mistakes I see fitness coaches make, someone joins their program and it's just all about that first goal. They buy your 12-week transformation program, and all you're talking about the whole way through the 12 weeks from week 1 to week 8 to week 9 to week 11 is about what they're going to achieve in those 12 weeks. And this is great in a sense to get people hyped up and excited about this initial goal. But unfortunately, what this does is it makes the prospect, the buyer, and the client, it makes them get into a mindset of thinking that this has an end date. So what you need to start doing is, as soon as someone joins your program, yes, you need to be fully focused on what that short-term goal is. But likewise, you need to also set some longer pace goals, further ahead goals. Let me give you an example. Someone joins your program, and within this first 2 weeks, they're smashing it towards their 12-week goal. You still say to them, Steve, you're absolutely smashing it. And you know what I'm really excited about? Once we finish this first 12 weeks, we're going to get you into this strength phase. So right now you're building the foundation, but by the time we get to like January, February time, we're going to go through this strength phase and get you super strong into summer. And then when we get nearer to summer, I'm going to take you through a fat loss phase. And that's where we're really going to reveal what you've got underneath. So already you're starting to future pace your coaching and get people to start thinking about you long after their initial commitment. If you're losing clients at the moment for the fact that they feel like they've achieved their initial goal, that's up to you. And you're not currently doing a good enough job of giving them a future goal. Okay, number 2 of 3. You aren't setting a resale date in your diary. So if you're not familiar with the term resale date, what you need to do is every time someone joins your program, work out what it is, maybe 2 to 3 weeks before they're either due to pay again or due to finish. And that gives you a date to put in your diary. You can use software, for the guys inside the academy and the mastermind. We teach them a specific piece of software to use, but you can use the calendar on your phone, an alarm on your phone, essentially just anything that's going to remind you on that date that you've got about 2 to 3 weeks to get in contact with said client, to have a conversation with them. Obviously, if they're absolutely smashing the program, then great, they're quite likely to want to continue. But we've all had it where you think that someone is going to stay with you for the long term. You think they're going to stay with you forever, but then it comes around to the end of their payment or when they're next due to go again, and they say, actually, Dan, it's been great, but I'm going to do it on my own for now. And they leave you because you haven't had that conversation. You haven't talked about that future goal, maybe. And likewise, you might also have somebody who it starts to go missing towards the end of the program and their payment's due to pull. And instead of having that awkward conversation of even their money pulls or their money bounces on the payday, or either their payday on the day they were due to pay, you want to be having that conversation well ahead of time. And I'm talking 2 to 3 weeks. So start putting a resale date in your diary. And number 3, the reason why you're currently losing clients or potentially losing clients is you haven't taken your coaching from a want to a need. Okay. And I'll say that again. You haven't taken your coaching from a want to a need. Write that down. What I mean by this is, especially if you're watching this in November 2022, cost of living on the news and recession and all these words getting people scared about spending money. And unfortunately, the biggest shame in it is people pulling back on what they're spending on coaching, mindset coaching, business coaching, fitness coaching. So what you need to be doing, not just in a pending recession or back in lockdown or any other time that you're watching or listening to this in the future, You need to make it that your coaching becomes a want, not a need, not a want. If someone wants to work with you, then it might be a luxury to them. But if they feel like I can't live without this program, I can't live without this community, I need to be part of this program, I need to work with Dan, I need to be part of this community, like this is everything to me. That's the kind of level of commitment you want to get from your clients. And a few ways to go about this is, one, create a community, create a tribe, so that they don't just want to be part of the program, they want to be part of the people in the program. Secondly, you want to create a relationship with them as a coach, and that level of respect and inspiration and motivation, that they're like, if I hang around with this guy or girl, that I feel better on a day-to-day basis. And a third way you can go about doing this, taking it from a want to a need, is getting them to constantly understand and remind them that there's more to coaching and more to their achievement than just an aesthetic benefit. What I mean by that is, if they think they're just working with you to drop kilos or put on muscle, and they forget that you working with them is potentially helping them get a promotion, find their future husband or wife, not end up losing their current husband or wife, or letting their standards drop, right? That's where you step in and they understand that, look, I need to work with you, I need the coaching because you're transforming my life and you're making my life a better place and you're making me a better person. So to recap, guys, we've got, number one, set future goals straight away. So as soon as someone comes into your program, start talking to them about a future goal. Number two is put a resale date in the diary. You might be losing clients at the moment just because you're simply not having that conversation, and you're not reminding them maybe even that their payment's coming up, or if their payment is coming up, you're not having that conversation around getting them to stay with you, or at least find out if it's a good fit for both of you. Something else you might consider as well, guys, an additional bonus tip is, you can actually use that resale date to take a moment and say, actually, do I even want to stay with, do I want this client to be on the program? Do I want them to continue? Like, are they showing up? Are they dragging us back? A quote I always come back to is, your client's success will always determine your success. So if your clients are more successful, you will go further in this space as a coach. If your clients are less successful, the opposite. And the third thing you need to look at is go the extra mile. Better community, better coaching, more inspirational. Keep upgrading your service, keep upgrading you as a person, and make your coaching go from being a want to a need. So don't forget, guys, if you screenshot this podcast, £1,000 cash for someone randomly at the month of November 22. All you've got to do to enter is stick it on your story and make sure to tag me at Fully Booked Coach on Instagram. And if you're not following me on TikTok, I'm also Fully Booked Coach over there. Obviously, if you're here for the podcast, then great. I'm glad you're loving it. Make sure to give me a review. And if you've got any questions or want to learn more about working with me and my team to help you start and grow your coaching business, then send us a message and I'd love to let you learn a bit more about the Academy and the Mastermind. And that's it. That's all. I'll catch you on the next episode of the Fully Booked Coach podcast.